So you probably seen the back and forth about this TB Joshua's documentary.
Nobody would knowingly join a cult. It will just take you, and when it's grabbed a hold of you, it infiltrates your mind.
People who called him out for different things that I'm going to break down in this video. I'm going to summarize it actually. This is not a long video at all. I just want to summarize the TB Joshua's documentary. But then you could see the back and forth between the people that really like TB Joshua online and those that actually don't like him, or those that actually feel like he's not a true man of God. Well, I'm not here to stand on any side. Actually, I'm sitting on the fence. I have my personal reservations about TB Joshua. I'm not entirely going to conclude that he's a bad person. No one is completely bad. There is always a good in someone. But yes, I have my reservations about his church, his style of message, what he preaches to his congregation, and how he portrays himself. I know there are a lot of people that try to portray themselves as good people, and behind closed doors they are bad, in quotes. So yes, I'm not even here to stigmatize anybody. I'm not here to condemn anybody. But let's just jump into this BBC documentary and talk about some of the allegations that were made. Before we even jump into it, let me just mention that, guys, if you remember, G. Mike was delivered in that church.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You're too small. I'm not going anywhere. He's too big. He's too big. He loves God too much. God, he's too wealthy. He's too big. If I let him go, where will I go? What do you want to do to him? Destroy him. Huh? I have to destroy him. It's God has kept my life. I've done everything. I've done everything to destroy him.
I was so pissed that time because J-Mike was my best actor at that point in time, and I felt the style of deliverance was not just right to me. And J-Mike had actually explained the why and how he was being delivered in Synagogue Church of All Nations, because at that point in time there were rumors that TB Joshua had paid him to come and act, and it all looked like acting. At that point in time I actually believed it was acting, but yes, he explained himself.
So people thought that the whole synagogue thing was a stunt.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, that is part of why I withered. I didn't only, when Orthodox medicine failed us, I mean, from Luton, I took my whole family to India to be with my mom, and then she started getting better. This is the light of your life, Mom, for crying out loud.
Just described
I'm not going to wager it for theatrics, for melodrama. And at some point, an offer was made from there. To take him there by a senator friend of mine. Said, so I refused. So, you know, my sisters, you know, when you're in a family, so they had a meeting plus my dad said, if anything happens to my wife is on your head. The pressure was too much. I said, okay, I want to go. If they will save her, I will go. So they told us put her in a hospital. I'm telling you this thing, how it works. If they want to refute it, let them come back. We put her in a hospital, closed there. And I went there. There was a presidential suit I was accorded. When I went, I'm like, okay, let's get started with this. And they said I must come down to the service. I said, I don't have to come down to the service. You people promised me, like, does God need me to, you know? Yes, I'm skeptical. Yes, I've shown people a great degree of cynicism, but do it and they make me a believer.
Yeah.
I will live in this church for 2 years if you heal my mom. So after a while, again, the meeting, like, you need to come down. I remember I was in there. My sister was behind me when this guy came and was doing stuff. When they crossed me, I chuckled.
Which guy? The late?
The guy, no, not him.
Okay,
There's a
some
guy
other guy.
He didn't conduct it personally.
Right.
One of the pastors. Yes. That I chuckled. My sister said, stop laughing. This thing is serious. I don't want them to see you laughing. Then he came back to me. My brother, I don't know what happened after that. This world is deep. There's a certain spirituality I've come to understand about this world that is way beyond us. What happened, I don't know. I saw the video, I said, that's not me, but that's me. My brother, you must understand that I am not an island of knowledge. I've done my part. But the one thing that is of a truth I can take to the bank is that till I die, I'm the true son of Gladys. And I will never, ever waver her memory and her legacy by telling a lie. I've said it time and again, if everything I'm saying is not true, let somebody come out, show proof that you gave me. How much are you going to give me that I've not seen? To play with my mom's life?
Whether he's correct or not, like I said, I have my reservations about TB Joshua. But let's dive into this video. This video is just going to summarize everything For you that don't like to watch long videos, I mean, that documentary was about 2 hours. I settled down to watch the video because I was very much interested in the story. So let's jump into it. First allegation, he was accused of manipulation. Manipulation in the sense that there are some white women in this video, this documentary that came out, that said, oh, they were very young, naive Christians that just were able to come across TB Joshua's video of him doing miracles and all of that, and they were just so surprised that God could use someone in that manner, and they wanted to come and experience it firsthand. And that was how they left their country. People came all the way from UK, they came all the way from Dutch, Sweden, Switzerland, different places, just to come and worship in Synagogue Church of All Nations.
He wanted to be the biggest, best, the most important pastor in the world. A man who has got a list of presidents in his pocket. TB Joshua was perpetrating crimes on a global scale for 30 plus years.
The spiritual power of TB Joshua hypnotizes people.
Now, with that, there was a Nigerian man in this video that accused TB Joshua of having interest. So this is a second allegation of having interest in the white people. He wanted that white audience.
Joshua invested more than 90% of what we got in VHS videos. The law he gives to cameramen is record everything. So many videos. He knows exactly what he wanted to achieve. He had special interest in the Oyibo, the whites. 1996, one of the major pastors came from South Africa. When they were leaving, he gave more than 200 VHS videos to take home to give to people. Videos of miracles, videos of confessions, videos that will fill their head. I said, this is too expensive. Oh. He laughed. You think I'm a fool? I know what I'm doing. A time will come. This synagogue church is going to shoot out from South Africa to the whole world.
He just said, look at these people. They don't know where they are.
Each one that goes home tries to contact his brothers, contact his friend in US, contact those in UK.
I mean, this was when he started his church. It was just a normal Lagos church that had this man that was doing some kind of very different type of miracle, what people have not seen before. And it was just a local church, but he was also very much interested in the white community. And what he did was that he told his team, his media team, to always film whatever is happening in church. At that point in time, if you watch TB Joshua at that time, you'd see that there were a lot of graphic images. You see a woman giving birth in church, the water, the blood, and all of that. You see all of that stuff. It was raw, it was undiluted. It was just showing that this guy was so powerful. Whether he was using God's power to do all of this, I don't know, or he was using satanic power to do all of this. But yes, they said he was very much interested in the Oyibo audience, and he wanted to bring them to Nigeria. And I mean, in the long run, he did that, because if you watch the Synagogue Church of All Nations, you see that white people were there. They were ushers. They were people giving announcements in church. I mean, at some point, he had 3 wise men, and I think the 3 of them, or one of them, was a white man, and the other ones were black. So yes, TB Joshua had already called his Church of All Nations. So he was interested in bringing the nations to Nigeria. So yes, he was accused of being interested in the white audience. Aside that, he was also accused of sexual assault. These ladies gave their account of how TB Joshua sexually harassed them, had sex with them. There was one that said TB Joshua broke her virginity.
He was telling me that, you know, I'm your father and I'm delivering you. We went into his room and I stood there and he said, off your clothes. So I removed my clothes and then he just pointed. So I lied down and then He raped me. He broke my virginity. I was screaming and he was whispering in my ear that you should stop acting like a baby. Better shut up. You want to make noise? You want people to hear? I felt like there was a beast. Like this beast. I was 17 years old. I was underage.
When he come back from the service, he kept forcing himself on me. He assured me God was not upset. The more I made him happy, God will be happy with me.
He grabbed me and he held me very close to him, and he literally then pushed me down to the bed and he got on me.
I was still so shocked. I was still bleeding. He spit on the floor and he held my hands and he looked straight into my eyes and said, I can see you are my child now. Don't betray me.
There was a woman that had already come out, I think sometime in 2016, 2017, I'm not sure of the date, but she had already come out to accuse TB Joshua of being occultic, of having sex with her. Now, the woman does not look so fine. So people kind of dismissed her reports that, who are you that TB Joshua wants to sleep with? That kind of thing. TB Joshua is here and you are here. So how are you saying TB Joshua wants to sleep with you, or TB Joshua tried to sleep with you? All of that. So yes, there were accusations of him sexually assaulting that woman and other women. Now, you had about 5 to 6 ladies in this documentary that accused him of that. Not only that, TB Joshua's daughter, his daughter from another woman, not the wife that everyone knows, his alleged daughter, because I don't know, but everyone in that video confirmed that she's TB Joshua's daughter, and TB Joshua was very much interested in humiliating her. He would tell the disciples, as they call themselves, that's church workers, to beat her up anytime they want, anytime they feel like, because according to them, he had this hatred for that girl.
For as long as I can remember, I have been raised as TB Joshua's daughter.
I knew the child, Ajoke, right from birth.
She's his actual daughter, his biological daughter, with another woman outside of wedlock.
He doesn't seem to like her very much. She was like kind of labeled the black sheep of the family.
I was in primary school. I was made to move to the disciples' room. I didn't volunteer to be a disciple. I was made to join.
Ajoke grew inside the synagogue, like an outcast.
I think he wanted to keep her a secret. I don't think he wanted anyone to know who she was. The message about Ajoke was that she had terrible evil spirits that needed to be driven out.
So yes, there was sexual assault, and there was also physical assault, because they said anytime TB Joshua was coming, or you hear daddy's coming, everybody is just taken to their heel, because he could get angry and hit you or slap you. So he was accused of sexual assault and also accused of physical assault.
I've been laid flat on the floor. My skirt was lifted up and I was just naked. He hit me with that horse whip.
He will actually lie down on the floor. He will use it. Everywhere blood. He beat you without mercy.
Something else that I was accused of was occultic practices. So there seemed to be this very old advanced guy in this documentary that said he was like the caretaker of the alleged mountain that TB Joshua used to go to do his prayers. So he revealed a couple of things. There were pictures there that had pictures of the disciples that were scattered all over the floor, and TB Joshua would provide it. He was moving around circles and all of that. So there were accusations of occultic practices.
The 16 years I spent there, we are the prayer warrior, which is the powerhouse of the ministry. I happen to be the leader. He will give you different assignments. There was one day, TB Joshua came to the mountain. They caught one fish alive, very big. So in my presence, TB Joshua caught his beard, cut part of the hair in his private part. He poured those things in the mouth of that fish. Say we should take it back to the river and drop it. That was how they start multiplying. When they lay egg, they lay thousands of eggs. It's secretive. If we are talking about spiritual power, either it's Satan or it's God. It's very important for me to speak to the world. I am using it as a platform of confession. What I was doing then was against God.
I remember one day, TB Joshua, he called for me. He allowed me on the boat. We went so far. There was a prayer hut I had never seen before.
So in that room, it's our duty to make sure that we own a certain incense there. If he's going to enter there, that place must be filled with smoke.
We do normally have our meetings in the night. He trusts me with the assignment he's giving me.
It's just candles everywhere, pictures.
All the disciples' pictures, we pour it on the floor. His own picture is not there. His wife's picture is not there. It's only the disciples.
He will wear a red garment, plain red. The garment is long down to his ankle. And he will hold a sword in his hand. Those pictures, he will place the sword directly on the face. It will be pierced through and it will be pinned down there.
They are in bondage, spiritually and physically. This is what you have done to people. Ilé ayé gbóná mọ́ wọn. Wọn mọ nǹkan tán lè ṣe mọ́ wọn mọ bí tán lọ. Wọ́n wà ní àhámọ́.
You just move around this prayer room and you move in an anti-clockwise way.
Holding this sword, going around, oh Lord, forgive us, oh Lord, forgive us, oh Lord, forgive us. Have mercy on us, have mercy on us.
I've never seen this kind of thing before. Everything about his prayer room is photos. People's photo. And I can tell you, they are mostly ladies.
What he did was all intentional. He was doing all those sexual activities for something spiritual.
Satan knows everything that people cannot know. TB Joshua is not any man of God. He's man of evil.
There were also accusations of abortion. They said when you're pregnant, TB Joshua just tells them to take you to there is this some kind of small hospital in the church that they go there and they just take care of business. So if you're pregnant, they take care of your business. Now, one of the very weighty allegations that was made in this documentary was the allegation about the church building. And if you're a foreigner and you're coming to Synagogue Church of All Nations, you do all your registration and all of that online, and they book a room for you at that particular building. So yes, that building that fell in 2013 or 2014, if I'm not mistaken, there were accusations that it was a structural defect. It also sort of led to the death of countless numbers of people. Based on what was said in this documentary, the media did not really get the number of people that really died in that building. A lot of people died, foreigners, and TB Joshua was also accused of bribing the family with money.
Just from just a few hours ago, part of the Synagogue Church of All Nations collapsed. Many are said to be trapped inside.
There were all these news flashes coming in. this church building has fallen, and they don't know the details. The whole family was panicking.
An incident described as one of the worst disasters ever to strike a place of worship.
No fewer than 50 persons are feared killed following the collapse.
The building was believed to be a guest house for foreign members of the TB Joshua Synagogue Church.
I tried to call my daughter, tried to send an SMS. There was no response. Oh no, that's when now I could not breathe.
When we asked for information, they couldn't give us anything. They said, no, I must wait, we must pray. Ow!
No phone call from synagogue. I couldn't sleep. You know, you're waiting for the next day, you're waiting for the phone call.
Emmanuel TV, God with us.
It was Sunday afternoon. TB Joshua came, it was a life service.
Viewers all over the world, let me start from Friday morning. I received a phone call that there was a jet here at the church, hovering around a building, passing over the building 4 times at a very low rate before the building collapsed. So we are going to show you the video.
Take note of the upper left-hand corner of the screen. A strange aircraft flies over the building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations. 9 minutes later, the strange aircraft returns. This is the moment of the incident.
On television, they were showing us that the building had been bombed. And they were showing us this aircraft.
Don't be scared. You are not the target, I'm the target. I know my hour has not yet come.
My daughter died in the place where I thought it's safe.
Delegation from this Nigerian church, they came, they pronounced my sister as passed on. I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to her. They came, we asked, why are you giving us money? We were told it's a gift. I said, no, this is not a gift. You are trying to buy our silence.
When we refused taking the money, he started threatening us.
I'm Prophet Joshua. I know you, I know whom you are.
That's when he said, no, your daughter won't be happy if I don't take the money.
It's not that you are poor, but it's an obligation. Your daughter will not be happy. So rest in peace, she will not be happy.
He sent me these messages. It says, if you focus on what you have lost, you might lose everything. Now he's threatening me that my whole family will go down, the same way my daughter went down.
I started searching for information. You start asking questions. What are you hiding? What really happened?
The families were lied to. The aeroplane story is just pure lie. I can tell you the honest truth. On the 12th of September, somebody working in the maintenance department went to that guest house. As he was there, he realized that that building was unstable. It was shaky. By 12:01, the building collapsed. They told us then that don't say what you know. So he knew that there was something wrong with the building, but they were managing it.
There was no plane that dropped bombs. It was structural failure. During the time it was being built, I stood with TB Joshua on that building. He was given instructions to his head of maintenance, and he just kept kind of pushing and saying, I want it higher, it must go higher. The foundations were never built to cater for the height of the building that TB Joshua categorically demanded must be built.
Anything close to Jesus resists attack. I want to assure you that our God will get back to them.
The building collapse is A good example of everyday life under TB Joshua is just a series of cover-ups. It's just this one was so big, it was almost impossible for him to make it go away.
The accusations about occultic practices, sexual assault, physical assault, manipulation, and I already mentioned physical assault, and also his daughter that no one knew about apart from the disciples. So yes, these are some weighty allegations about TB Joshua. However, some people online, they've come out. I think musician Victor Eddy came out to say TB Joshua healed him of his skin disease. His sister was almost blind. His mother's hand was going to be cut off, and TB Joshua healed the woman, and what have you. So there are people that are on the side of TB Joshua, while there are some people that are like, you know what, these people that came out to tell their story, they cannot just come out and just lie against you. These are the people that worked with this man directly. And I'd like to mention, because the truth is, when things happen like this, people now want to be on the other side. Oh, they are lying, they are doing this, they are doing that, they are doing that. These guys were actually abused physically, sexually, and what have you. These guys were abused, and these guys were the guys working with this guy. So if you say one person is lying, that's fine. If you say two persons are lying, that's fine. 4, 5, 6, 7, no. It's not possible that these guys will come and lie. Yes, I'm not on the side of criticizing TB Joshua, because I don't know the full story, whether I sexually assaulted them or they added their own story to it. I'm not even saying that this is it, this is that. I'm just saying that if you are going to accuse these people that have come out, because there is something about victims. When victims come out to tell their story, it is actually one of the hardest things to do, especially when it has to do with sex. As a woman, oh, you were sexually abused. Some people will say, oh, you were enjoying it. Why did you not leave? And all of that. There is this thing about manipulation. And if occultic practices, like they claim, was also a thing for TB Joshua, he probably would have tied them up not to leave his church. He probably would have said, and I mean, juju, they always get expiry dates. So yes, for the longest, this guy spent 14 years in that church, 13 years in that church, 10 years in that church. They spent this long time in that church. You can also see that if their story is true, there is a possibility of a spiritual effect to what has happened to them. You could see that they feel very excited that they are free now. Now, people also were saying that, why are they coming out now to share this one? Why did they not say it when it was alive? First off, I'm going to say this, that when it comes to investigative journalism, it takes time to do this report. You need to take account of people. You need to take approval, especially when you are not an independent investigative journalist. You work for an organization. It takes time for approval in some certain kind of way. So yes, doing investigative journalists will take time. They will investigate, they will check, they will try to confirm what you've said, if it's almost the same thing this person have said. They will also, when they are done with the whole report, they also take it to the higher authority for approval. So yes, it can take 4 years, it can take 5 years, it can take 3 years. Same thing that happened with Sex for Grades. If you watch the BBC documentary on Sex for Grades, you'd know that it took a lot of time before that video was released. Same thing with the Black Axe documentary that was also released by the BBC. Anywhere in the world, when it comes to investigative journalism, it takes time to actually bring out the report. So yes, that is why it took time. They also mentioned that immediately they recorded the first interview for this documentary, it was the next day that they heard TB Joshua die. Remember, they recorded. They've not edited. It has not gone through approval, scripting, voiceovers, and all of that. They've not done all of that. So yes, that is more reason why it took time. The only platform that has come out to actually really give a very good submission on this issue was the Arise Morning Show. I'm going to play their video, and you tell me what you think about this video.
I hope to do so. There's so many angles, OG, and it's very disheartening when you hear the stories of people, real people who were interviewed, not masked, people who were willing to come out. I'll address a few things. The first is around whether the BBC had legitimacy or the right to investigate because, it's an African issue. I think it's an indictment on our own investigative journalism, if we say that, because we ought to agree, yes, we tell our own stories, but I don't think it takes away the import of what they have revealed. And if they decide to take, when they did sex for marks, we didn't say it wasn't their business. When it changed legislature in the universities, we didn't say it was their business. So I know that when it comes to religion, it's very sensitive. However, we must come to a place where we are honest with ourselves. And I will always proudly say that I'm a member of the constituency of the church because I'm a Christian. So this is very sad for me to watch it play out. Let me say, I'm not judging because this is an investigative piece. However, the first thing I would say is this. Prophet T.B. Joshua is not the first Christian to have for allegations to come out after his death. There was a famous preacher called Ravi Zacharias who died in 2020, and following his death, there were allegations of sexual misconduct by some women. What the church did was that they investigated. So they didn't just throw it away and say, we're not going to respond to this.
Is the issue.
They investigated and they found that it was actually true. And so what they did was that they apologized to these women. And then they took out his name out of certain things. And there was some form of, repentance.
Yes.
The Christian faith is about repentance. When you find out something is wrong, no one is above mistake. There's no superhuman being on this earth. And so the take from what I've heard, I'm not very impressed by that they're just discounting people's experiences without any form of investigation. And the fact that this is not the first time it's coming out.
Absolutely
Similar
not.
to, you should read the Ravi Zacharias story. Exactly the same thing. There were allegations, but the church had quietened it down and not investigated. But they were pressured to do so after his death when even more allegations came out and lawyers were defending these women. So I believe that rather than the church coming out and saying, it's just an attack on his integrity, I think it's quite irresponsible to do that. I believe that the next line of action, in the spirit of protecting, I said it earlier when I was speaking, no human life is more important than another human life. If there are allegations of misconduct, investigate. And even for the sake of the future and for legacy's sake, come out and say that we investigated thoroughly and we found him not guilty, innocent, and these people are lying. Then we can rest assured. So I don't think it's okay to just bury it and say, let's leave it. That's one. Then the final point I'll make is this. When you read about this, sexual misconduct in the church is not new. It's happened over the years, whether in the Catholic Church, whether in Pentecostalism, in many churches. Unfortunately, what is done is that it's buried. There are a lot of cult systems that are operating as churches. Let me put it that way. There are cults that operate as churches. And we need to uncover this, not just because of its impugning on the integrity of the church, but also the innocent lives that are being destroyed on a daily basis by this. Jesus came to this world to die for everybody, not more for the pastor than the congregation. So we should protect the lives of young people, men, women, boys, girls, if we really love God, as we say. So I don't stand for burying, things like this. I think it should be investigated. They should be apologized to, and if possible, the church should build a system where we can prevent such cults from operating. If it does exist, it does exist. I'm not saying this one until investigation is completed.
I
but
totally agree with you, Ayo, and I think that you hit the right notes here. They are claiming that, previous claims that have been, circulating have been unfounded. But we will say that T.B. Joshua has passed. And, maybe they want to continue with his legacy of, not addressing issues, whether or not they have addressed issues in the past. Like Ayo has said, I think that it is important that they reach out to these women, even Ajoke, all of these people that have come out now to, expose their pain to the world so that, there's some sort of closure. Rufai, really quickly.
First, this is a very sad one. And my heart goes out to all of those that told their story. I would also say we have to have an independent investigation.
Right.
And this might not even be led by the church. If the church wants to have accountability, it should lead it. But this might not be led by the church. Government should be involved in this. Because there were many crimes that were committed that also had to do with the government of the day. If my memory serves me right, when that building collapsed in 2014, President Goodluck Jonathan was there.
He visited, correct.
He visited. What was the end result of the investigation of that building collapse?
Well, they said that the building lacked integrity. Or,
it lacked integrity. What were the penalties put in place? That's why I say there needs to be holistic. But in all fairness, kudos to the BBC. And for the person that sent a tweet, yes, the BBC has a right to do investigation. And let's not be cheeky. They have done investigation and reports on the likes of Epstein, even the royal family. If not for a panoramic documentary, we will not see all the fractures in the royal documentary. So, because you have your own personal vendetta against the BBC, do not slam them. I have, when they go wrong, I say it.
Yes,
but,
you do.
And please do not indict the Nigerian media. I take strong exceptions to that. Do you know the first time I heard of the name TB Joshua? Was in 1996. Through a very investigative journalist called Kolawole Olawuyi. Nkan be mẹ́wàá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ń dúníyàn. And you Wow,
your Yoruba is
anybody,
so sweet.
The baller, the Debanle.
Rufai,
Kola Olawiyi
Yoruba.
used to have a program on Radio Nigeria on AM in Ibadan, Saturday morning. He did it on OGBC2 FM stereo Friday, Saturday morning in Ibadan. And as of 1996, he did an in-depth investigative report, making most of these allegations out about TB Joshua. Kola Olawiyi was Nigerian, God bless his soul. He had done reports, and there have been many reports out like this. What you will just say is, yes, because of the BBC stature, because they have more influence capital than the likes of Kolawole Olawiyi, they were independent journalists, they got it out there. What is most important is, it's an indictment of us in society that for all these years, we did not have an independent investigation to be able to verify the veracity of all of this story being told. And that's what the church should subject themselves to now, to be able to get all the parts. I mean, we've had people that, like Ayo stated the case of a pastor, that after their death, they were found guilty, and the church made amendment. So, and that's why I go back to this word. Touch not my anointed does not mean the anointed must be stupid. Touch not my anointed means the anointed too must be accountable to God and be responsible.
Right.
Because we are so quick to say in Christendom, touch not my anointed, don't speak evil of a man of God. Cases must be investigated, but men of God too must be careful. The people kept under their flock is for them to love and upgrade their lives. You must not hear things like this of man pick. And for pastors that are doing this, because it's not today, we've had pastors with various sexual countdowns here and there. Please stop it. You cannot say you serve God and you have a vice and you cannot deal with it. May God help all of us, because we are working towards perfection. Nobody is perfect.
All right.
But this can be independently investigated.
Very well said, Boom.
Let me know in the comment section what you think about the whole TB Joshua saga, the documentary, the timing, what you think the church could have done. Do you believe these people that claim to be to have been assaulted, or do you believe TB Joshua is on his right, or is a right man of God? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll be reading your comments.